Hey there! Welcome to Retro Reloaded. I'm your host Lance, and each week I tackle a retro game shaped by your picks. If you want a chance to choose next week's game or unlock exclusive bonus episodes and polls, join me on Patreon at patreon.com/retroreloaded. There's even a free tier to dip your toes in. Big thanks for all of your love and support. It means the world to me. Now let's hit the start button and reload those retro vibes.
Hello, it's me, Mario. I came to Dinosaur Land for a vacation. Just me, my friends, and a little peace and a quiet. But it didn't take long before trouble found us again. Bowser's back, and he's taken a Princess Peach, hiding her somewhere deep within this strange new world. Now it's up to me to track him down. I'll travel across forests, mountains, and the castles, taking on his Koopalings one by one. But this land is different. There are hidden paths, secret exits, and more than one way to reach the end. And I'm not doing this alone. Along the way, I met a new friend, Yoshi. With his help, I'll uncover every secret, overcome every obstacle, and bring a Peach home. No matter how many worlds it takes, this ends with Bowser. Let's go!
Before we jump into the episode, I wanted to give a quick shout out to the awesome supporters over on Patreon who help keep Retro Reloaded going. Huge thanks to the 64-bit legend, our legendary supporter Zero, for always being consistent and such an awesome supporter of the show. Also, our 16-bit adventurers, Tetrafali and Marcus Q, thank you so much for helping the show every month. You're always very supportive, and I appreciate you. And then, of course, our 8-bit explorers, Werkin Warden, Gaming Quarterly, and Anthony T. Thank you so much for your help. Everything counts, and I appreciate your support. And then, of course, just everybody who listens to the show, who likes the show on YouTube, Patreon, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all these different places where you watch, listen to the show. Thank you for supporting me there. Leaving comments helps a lot. Liking, engaging, all these things. So appreciate your involvement. It's been really great. And if you're ever interested, there is a free tier on Patreon. It's just it's a good way to get involved. And of course, our Discord, Retro Reloaded Discord, is a really great way to be involved with the community. So thank you all for keeping retro gaming alive. All right, with all that stuff out of the way, we have a new guest for this Super Mario World episode. Our new guest's name is Brian. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. A big fan of the game, so yeah, I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, you actually sent me an email, and I read through it. I don't remember everything you sent me, but when I was reading through it, I saw that you had quite a bit of feats with this game. Like, you've played it quite a bit. And so you seem like the perfect guest for this episode. You also were kind of telling me before the episode started that you do also a gaming podcast online. Do you want to tell the audience kind of like what you do over there?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's Beat of the Month. So we've got a podcast where initially it was a monthly podcast, hence the name. We ended up making it bi-weekly, but we pick a theme of the month and we all play games on that theme. So we just voted on robot games. So we're going to play games with robots. So I was thinking of like Ratchet and Clank or like Piano 3 on the GameCube, or like for more obscure stuff. So yeah, sometimes we do deep dives like this though, where we'll pick a specific game and we'll all play the same game at once and then talk about it. So yeah, I like doing it, and I'm happy to be a guest here.
Cool. So it's just beatofthemonth.com, you would say?
That's it, yeah. That's it, yeah. If you go on social media like Instagram and Facebook and things, it's just Beat of the Month on all those platforms. But yeah, the website's got links to all of our social medias and things like that.
Cool. Do you have a Discord?
We might actually. I wasn't even the one who set up, like, way back when, our initial social media accounts. I've been told we have a Discord. I don't know if we actually do, though. So if we do, we never, ever use it. But your Discord's really cool. I mean, you've got a whole community there and stuff. I'm a little jealous, so I'm going to have to look into that more.
Yeah, I was going to come over if you had a Discord. I was going to join, and maybe I would join in one of these games. I'll have to go to beatofthemonth.com and maybe play one of these games with you guys. Sounds like a lot of fun. You know, it sounds like I've tried to actually, funny enough, this last week I was talking with people from Retro Reloaded, and I was saying, like, we need to like do more play together events. So I'm have this new form for people to fill out If anybody has a suggestion that is like you're listening to this episode and you want us to play together as a community, I highly recommend go checking out that forum. It's in Play Together under the Discord channel. And yeah, just suggest a game that you think we should play together. It could be a mod, it could be a game like a Steam game, it could be really anything, just anything you want. So yeah, no, that's honestly, I hope I can kind of do what you guys are doing over there and kind of foster that play together community because that is really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah, it's just me and my friends. Just we've known each other for years, and not every if it's a game somebody's not super jazzed about, not everybody participates. So, like, I did Papers, Please, which I don't know if you've heard of that, but it was on the Vita, but it's also a mobile game, and some of my friends are like, "I'm not playing a mobile game," but that game was a lot of fun.
The funny thing about mobile games is I don't think they're ever meant to be taken seriously. Like, I don't think that's what they were meant for. They're meant for very casual gaming. And I've played some of those like castle building games where you join a clan, kind of like I guess Clash of Clans or whatever, but it's a different game. I played like other ones, and they're fine. It's like kind of like you're sitting in bed and you don't really want to do anything too seriously, and you're just kind of like you want to do something besides, I guess, read a book or something, or watch YouTube clips. So those, they're fine, I guess. I think
Yeah,
mobile games get a worse rap than they really should sometimes.
something, and I don't usually give them the time of day most of the time, but Papers, Please was the exception because I had heard that it was so good, and it was very good. So yeah.
Yeah. I think really where they do get bad raps is the microtransactions, and those ones are bad. I would agree. Like if they have too many pay to win, don't play it. But there are some fun little games. So, yeah. So we're here to talk about Super Mario World, and I kind of just wanted to ask you, how did you get into this game? Is this a nostalgia hit for you, or is this something that you got into as an adult? Like, how'd that happen?
So this is a nostalgia hit, but I did not have this game when it first came out. So when I was a kid, I got the original Nintendo pretty late in its lifespan. I think it was before Super Nintendo had came out, but not much before. So I went to a neighbor's house and they had the Super Nintendo, and I saw them playing it. And I mean, my mind was blown when I was a kid, and I was seeing, and we'll get into more of the specifics, I'm sure, but like that first level when you see that giant bullet bill come through and that sprite
Yeah.
just looks so cool. Like I was telling my parents like, "Oh, I got to have this game." But then I think the marketing for Sonic the Hedgehog was so strong that I pivoted from NES to a Sega Genesis. So I didn't get the Super Nintendo until the mid 90s. So Super Mario World would have been out for several years at that point. But once I did get it, I've played through it many times. Sometimes I've 100%ed it in one sitting. So yeah, I'm a huge fan. Yeah, I can't count how many times I've played through it, but yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. So, yeah, it sounds like it was a nostalgia hit for you as it was me. This wasn't the first time I played Super Mario World. This was, I played it over the past week and a half, I would say, or so. And I kind of revisited it. And honestly, a lot of it's, I've had forgotten some of the levels, but when I played them, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this. I remember this. And I remember this. Because when I was younger, I had like 100, I'm pretty sure I 100%ed the game. I did the whole Star Road thing and like all the secret levels. And there might be like maybe a level I missed, but there was no walkthroughs like there are now today with these games. So I think I don't know how I figured out about the secret levels. Maybe just playing the game a lot. I must have just like seen the keyholes and I was like, there's something there. And when you have these older games, back in the 90s, you had like a new game maybe every few months, 6 months. It depends on how much money your family was willing to spend on video games or had. So, I usually got them for like my birthday and like Christmas. And so I would replay these games over and over and over and over. And Super Mario World was one of them. I hadn't really played it in my adult life, so it was kind of cool revisiting it. Um, so, I want to kind of ask this question. Is Super Mario World among your top favorite games?
I mean, it's top two for me. So in terms of like retro games, it's number one. And it may be recency bias, but I love Tears of the Kingdom. Like Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. I put so much time into that, and I loved Breath of the Wild, and it felt like it was just an extension of that game, but even more and all the things you could do. So I don't know, maybe 5 years from now, I'll roll that back a little bit on the Tears of the Kingdom hype. But yeah, it's Tears of the Kingdom and Super Mario World for my top two, I'd say.
Nice. So it's definitely among your favorite then. I mean, top 2, that's you don't get much
Oh
better
yeah.
than that. So, Tears of the Kingdom is a kind of a funny one because I've haven't played it and I haven't played Breath of the Wild, but I have played, I would say, I think it's the majority of Zelda games. At least I would say 50 to 60% of them. But this the Breath of the Wild and stuff is kind of interesting because they totally changed the formula with those games. So I'm a little hesitant with going into them, and I'm trying not to have like a prejudice against them. You know what I mean? Because I'm not much of a survival, like, what do you call those games, like survival games or whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, once you get enough kind of supplies but yeah, in the beginning it is kind of like a survival game, especially when you're like, man, I got to climb this snowy mountain and I don't have anything to warm me up, so I've got to like cook this like spicy pepper meals and hope I don't run out. It is a bit like a survival game, but after you get past that first like 20-hour mark, then you're pretty much golden at that point. But yeah, especially with the
Okay.
breakable weapons, which I know is a bit controversial, that it can be yeah, a bit of a survival bit in the beginning. But yeah, they're huge games. I think that's the biggest difference for me is that what the longest Zelda game before that was, maybe I might have put like 50 hours into Skyward Sword, but I put several hundred hours into both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay. Yeah, and I think they're kind of set up to be longer games than something like Skyward Sword, because Skyward Sword is kind of that typical dungeon layout where you got, I think, so many dungeons, right? And you kind of complete those and you kind of, you have side quests, but it's not this huge open world where it's like just all these different NPCs you got to interact with and different items. Am I right? I actually haven't beaten Skyward Sword. I played a little bit of it, but I haven't beaten it.
No, you're right. Yeah, I mean, it's the typical Zelda formula. You're going through getting dungeons and you're getting new items and you're exploring. It's not an open world, but it's like an overworld area that then connects all the different places. But yeah, Breath of the Wild, really the Korok seed hunting is what was so time consuming for me. I just loved looking for Korok seeds. There's these collectibles that are strewn about the open world of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It kind of justifies the big open world because if you're not looking for the Korok seeds, a lot of it is just vast emptiness, but I loved looking for that stuff. So it took up a
That's
lot of time.
That's so funny you mentioned that because I know the Korok seeds are contentious among the like the fans. I know I've heard of people just being like they're horrible, but it sounds like you kind of had a good time with them.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. Yep. Now, the
Okay.
contentiousness is where the payoff, you gotta just want to do it to do it. If you're doing it for the reward, you will be disappointed. But if you're just looking for it to get that little dopamine hit whenever you find one, then it's great.
Okay, cool. So and I won't go too much more into Zelda because it's we're supposed to talk about Mario. But one more question: if they were to make a new Zelda game, would you prefer that they stick with this format or go like back to the old stuff or something new?
I would probably say that I do like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom format. I'd certainly want them to do a new map. Like they had two games, both using the same map. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom expanded on it, so that was enough to hook me in for another several hundred hours. But I love that formula. I'll take another 250-hour Zelda experience in a big open world as long as it's a brand new, fresh open world.
Okay, cool. So you'd be yeah, that would make you happy. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but
Um,
if they pivot to the old style, if they pivot back to that, and it's like a tighter, like 40-hour experience, I mean, I'm good with that too.
yeah. I have to try them out. I have to try them out. I think maybe, even though this is a retro gaming podcast, I do, and I am open to playing newer games that kind of have that contrast. So it's like, you have the older Zelda games and you have the new formula. So I think it's kind of fun to contrast them and compare them. Same with like I played like Snake Eater, the new Snake Eater. Even though that was like a new remake, it was essentially the old game but just remade. So I thought that was kind of fun to contrast. Um, so, one thing that Zelda and Mario do have in common is Shigeru Miyamoto. Mr. Miyamoto, very popular man. Is he still alive? Right, he's still alive.
Oh yes, oh yeah. He's been doing all the Mario movie stuff. That's what's preoccupied his time. But yeah, he's still working.
Yeah, he's still working. He's the for people who don't might not know, Shigeru Miyamoto is basically the guy who came up with the idea of Mario and Zelda and Donkey Kong. And what other popular IPs does he have?
I mean, Pikmin. He did pick. I mean, because he always like would have epiphanies in his regular life that would lead to some of his game development. And I think he was in his garden and he came up with Pikmin. Um, those are the biggies, I'd say. I don't really know if like with Mario Kart if he had a hand in that, and I know with Smash Brothers that was somebody else too whose name escapes me. But yeah, Mario, Zelda, those are the biggies. Donkey Kong, those are the biggies for sure.
Yeah, so maybe he I don't know if he was the original idea creator for Star Fox, but I think he kind of had a hand in it. Um, but yeah, no, he's a big name in the gaming industry. He's probably one of the biggest names. I honestly can't even think of like a bigger name than Shigeru Miyamoto when it comes to gaming. But yeah, very
Kojima, I mean,
popular.
you mentioned Metal
Kojima.
Gear. Kojima's like, yeah, he's on the same pedestal, nearly, I would say.
Y-
Yeah, they're close.
Yeah, he is very up there. Yeah, especially for the Metal Gear series, he is just so popular. And he has those wild ideas of like, his mind is interesting because it's like I really like the way it works as far as his creative development. He seems to be a contentious person. Like he let go of David Hayter, I think, for some of the most at one point for the one of the voice acting roles, and him and Konami had like a falling out too, and so I don't know if I've heard it's both him and Konami. It wasn't just like one party that kind of was like the bad guy, but yeah, he's such a popular character. Um, okay, so yeah, Super Mario World. It came out in 1990 for the Super Nintendo, and it was the follow up to Super Mario Brothers 3. And I know a lot of people say that Super Mario Brothers 3 is like a better game. I'm not so sure about that. I think actually I prefer Super Mario World. Super Mario Brothers 3 doesn't have any of the save points or like any progression. It doesn't feel like there's anything of progression. It just kind of like you're kind of playing a gauntlet in Super Mario Brothers 3. And then this one it's like you are kind of saving your game, you're coming back to it, you're exploring, trying to get to secret levels and stuff. How do you feel like the differences between those two games?
Yeah, and it is a very common topic online. And with Super Mario World being like in my top two, I prefer Super Mario World. But I was thinking about it in the last couple days leading up to being on your show, and it's pretty close actually. Because like when I was thinking of my favorite levels in Super Mario World, it was actually a little hard to come up with. And I think everything else about Super Mario World I find superior, but the individual levels I find much more memorable in Super Mario Brothers 3. Like you've got that one level in World 5 where you get Kuribo's shoe, that green boot that you jump around in, like that's so memorable. And then you've got like World 3 with the water where you've got the big fish that's chasing you the whole time. And then you've got there's one level where it's like this bizarre where like you've got to grab a Koopa shell and you've got to have the raccoon tail and you've got to fly it up to the top and then break the bricks with the shell. There's just a lot of memorable levels with Mario 3 that right off the top of my head I can kind of think of. But with Mario World, I don't. But I still like Mario World better. I think just graphical update from NES to Super Nintendo, it just pops off the screen. It's so colorful. And the physics in Mario World, in my opinion, are just perfect. Like the weight of Mario's jump is perfect. Mario 3, he's got a pretty floaty jump, which I mean you get used to it, but and then yeah, I don't want to go down too far, but like the map of Mario World just is a lot more expansive than Mario 3. The secrets, there's a lot going on in general with Mario World that I do prefer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of interesting that you said that Mario 3 had more memorable levels, and I think you're kind of right. I think I've played Super Mario World a lot more than Mario 3, but I do remember some of those levels in Mario 3 where it's like I remember like the big world, and even I know that's not like a specific level, that's a specific world that I really like remember. And I remember like the sun world where it's like I think the sun's chasing you. Like
Yes.
that was those were horrible. They're
Yeah.
terrifying. I think that's why they stuck to my mind. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this sun is like terrifying and it won't get away from me," you know?
Yeah, yeah, the
Um
sun level's great. Yeah, it's stuff like that where it's like it's a little harder to pick that stuff out from Super Mario World. But yeah, Mario 3's got quite a bit of those.
yeah, Super Mario World, I feel like the gameplay is just more pristine. Like you said, the jump feels a little bit nicer. It's a little bit more forgiving, I would say. And you get Yoshi, which is like a completely new mechanic with and enhance on that too with the different color Yoshis and the different turtle shells and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. I like the cape. It's very similar to the raccoon tail. But I feel like the cape is a little bit I don't think it's as strong. Do you feel like which one do you like better?
I do like the cape better. The cape, you gotta kind of time the raccoon tail. I know I rarely use the raccoon tail for combat because you gotta time that spin a little bit. Where the cape, you just kind of mash the button and he's doing a spin over and over. You can kind of whip through enemies, and then it's a bit tricky, but you can get that infinite flight with the cape that you can't get out of the raccoon tail unless you got the P wing. So yeah, I would say I prefer the cape a bit to the raccoon tail in terms of functionality. But I mean, that's about where I mean, Mario 3 does have a lot of those extra abilities as well, like the Tanuki suit or the Hammer Brother suit, suits that like you rarely get that feel really exciting to get, where Mario World's lacking that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And so yeah, I remember trying to time the cape like perfectly to where I can kind of fly. And I think it does fly infinitely, but if you don't time it right, it will go kind of like shoot down, right?
It will. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are two different types of jumps in Super Mario World, which Mario 3 doesn't have. And one of the jumps is like a spin jump, and the other one's like the normal jump. And with the spin jump, you can like destroy things below you. This includes like enemies and blocks. I thought that was kind of a cool addition to the game.
It is, yeah, and it's one that I don't utilize that often at all because like you can bounce on piranha plants and things like that. I think you can bounce on like the spikes that are or the saw blades that are going across the ground. I think you can bounce on those. I think you can bounce on boos. Like a lot of enemies that you can't interact with otherwise, you can spin bounce off of them. So it's it allows you to be pretty versatile in how you play the game, but I always forget about it and I don't use it that often.
That's so funny that you said that because I didn't know all that stuff. I knew that it could bounce off certain things, but I didn't know like possibly the spikes and the boos and the piranha plants. Um, I feel like the layout for the controller is a little bit weird. So spin jumping doesn't feel as natural. Yeah, I feel like I have to kind of put my hand in a strange spot where like my index finger is like over, I don't even know how you would say it, but like in the shape of a C with my thumb at the bottom. So it wasn't as natural as where like I just use my thumb and I run and then I jump, with my thumb. I felt like I
Yeah.
had to do some weird stuff with the spin jump. But I've heard that people basically only use the spin jump sometimes. Like they don't even use the regular one.
Oh yeah, I should try a run like that. Do like an only spin jump run and see how that goes.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if you would be like it's harder or smoother than you thought. It's like, oh, this is way easier, or like this is too hard. Because they do feel a little bit different, I think, as far as the physics. I want to say they feel a little slightly different as far as like how high you jump or something. I'm not sure.
I believe you're right.
Um,
Yeah, I think the spin jump has a little less height and probably a little faster to come down as well. Yeah.
yeah. So that was a cool addition, along with the Yoshi, and just like Super Mario Brothers 3, it has two players where you can, switch out and alternate players based on whether you die or whatever. And I think Is each person's progress saved differently? Do you remember?
No, you're both going to play the same levels on the map. So like if I beat level 1, then you could play level 2 and vice versa. Like you're both progressing the same map. Which I believe that's the same with Super Mario Brothers 3. I think only Super Mario Brothers 1 from what I remember is like you're pretty much playing different games. You're just taking turns doing it. But yeah, with Mario World, you're both going towards the same goal.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to remember that. So we're going both towards the same goal. If one player beats one level, the other player doesn't have to, essentially, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
you know what game? What recent-ish game? Not recent, but like recent-ish game that actually I feel like is akin to Super Mario World was the Super Mario Brothers Wii or something like that. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Um, yeah, there was New Super Mario Brothers Wii, and then there was New Super Mario Brothers Wii U that they ported to. Now that's all like simultaneous, where you're both on the screen at the same time, side scrolling. So,
Yeah.
I have not played much of that cooperatively at all. Have you played that with multiple people?
I did, and it's a blast. I mean, it's a little chaotic, you know, like things can get kind of crazy, but it is so much fun playing co-op. It kind of feels, and the reason I mentioned this game is because I feel like it's kind of a spiritual successor to the Super Mario Brothers world. It feels very similar in a lot of ways. So I thought it was great. A lot of the times I happened to be a little bit more skilled than the people I was playing with. So I would end up picking them up and just like running through them them through the
Yeah, yeah,
level. He'd be like, "Stop picking me up." I'm like, "Bro, we gotta go. We're gonna die." You know, because there's like some sort of like timer going on or whatever. But it was fun. Yeah, I recommend it for people who like this game. It's if you can stop, pick up a Wii or play it with somebody, it's definitely worth it. Um, yeah, but let's go, and then we go back to things like Super Mario 2 and Super Mario 1, which have a lot less in common with Super Mario Brothers 3. And do you kind of know why that is?
Oh, I mean, Super Mario Brothers 2, that was the infamous, it was a different game. It was Doki Doki Panic. And then they took that game and they reskinned it because they didn't think that American audiences would like Super Mario Brothers The Lost Levels, which is what we got on Super Mario All-Stars. And I think they were right. Super Mario Lost Levels is brutally tough. It looked the same as the original game. I don't think it would have been that well received. So I think they were wise in doing it. And I think Super Mario Brothers 2, the version that we got, is an amazing game. It's a lot different with like you're picking up vegetables and you're going to like dream worlds and things like that, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like an acid trip, you know. This game
Yeah,
is
yeah,
kind
it's
of like
pretty trippy.
it's trippy because you go from playing 1 or you go from Super Mario World to 2. Um It's weird. Like the mechanics are completely different. Like there's 4 characters and they each have a special abilities and the world is just like looks weird. There's weird enemies that you've never seen before and it just doesn't feel the same. You're like you could tell this was a different game at one point.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I don't think it was as well received as 3 or I guess Super Mario World. It definitely has a lot more critics, but I think it has its place in the Mario universe, I suppose.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of arguments online about what's the better game, Super Mario Brothers 2 or Super Mario Brothers 3. It's always 3 and World are the two games pitted against each other. But Super Mario World or Super Mario Brothers 2 is it's a solid game still in its own right.
Yeah, right. So with Super Mario Brothers World, you were telling me, I think in the email, that you had like 100% of the game multiple times. When you come back to this game, like how often do you return to it, and is it ever like a worse experience for having done that in the past?
I wouldn't say that it's a worse experience. I mean, I've got basically every hidden exit memorized. So like I wish I could wipe my brain free and play it again and get those new experiences. There's probably some times where I'll get to like well, actually, I think some of my favorite levels are near the end of the game. So Usually it's the early part of the game or the middle where it's a bit of a slog where I'm like, do I really want to play through this all? But then when I hit that final third, those are some of my favorite levels. So then I usually do play through it all. But it's pretty fun. There's a few games that this and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 I play through almost every year. I think it's been a little longer for Super Mario World because it is a bit longer of a playthrough, but no, I have a good time pretty much every time I play.
Nice. That's really cool because I know was even though this game is I would say like it has been thoroughly discovered. Like everybody knows the secrets, everybody knows it. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people know this game like 100%. They still return to it and they're still having a great time. Like and I think that says a lot about this game. That can't be said for a lot of games. A lot of games are like a one and done, or maybe a two and done, or even a three and done. This one is like you can just come back to it and you can just have a good time. I think that a lot of games cannot say that.
And I would imagine even with the amount that I've played this game, there's probably still some stuff that I don't know. There's probably some secret I don't know. Like I didn't know with Super Mario Brothers 3 that if you stand around for I forget how long it is, like 100 seconds, 200 seconds, that if you're in a level with chain chomps, all the chain chomps will break off their chains and roam the level free. Like I had no idea
Yeah.
that that was a thing. So I would imagine there's got to be some stuff in Super Mario World that I still have not seen or some kind of interaction with enemies that I didn't know about.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that about the chain chomps. That's actually so interesting. I kind of want to try that the next time I
Yeah, check it
play
out.
Mario
Yeah.
Brothers
Yeah, I couldn't
3.
believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's so funny they put these little secrets. I love Easter eggs and secrets like that. I think that makes the game so fun to kind of replay and like see the new things. That's awesome. So as far as the story go, Mario, I don't think Mario games are really known for their stories, but the plot is pretty simple. It's like a Mario game where Peach gets kidnapped and by Bowser, and Mario and Luigi go to Dinosaur Land to save her, pretty much. Um, so pretty focused narrative, and it's got little quips here and there for when you like beat certain levels, like the castles. Like it will tell you little plot points, like this Koopa was defeated, and da 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 da. Like so, you get little story bits here and there. And I think it's just right for a Mario game. Did you see the new Mario movie by chance?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of little Easter eggs about Super Mario World in that.
Um, I'm trying to think if there was there was a lot of Easter eggs, so I need to rewatch it again to see if I can catch more of it. There was a big did you see the movie?
Yeah, I did.
There was that big Mario Brothers 2 sequence where they're like chilling with Wart and all the other like bosses from Mario 2. So that one stood out to me the most. But yeah, I mean with the addition of Yoshi, that's yeah, obviously from Mario World. But yeah, there's probably some references to Mario World that I didn't catch.
Yeah, the Yoshi, I mean, not the Yoshi thing. The Super Mario World 2 was the most, like, I would say the most standout for sure. Like with Birdo and Wart and all that stuff. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, like, it's funny how they implemented these characters. Like, I was, I didn't know they were going to bring those characters in, but it was cool to see them. I think that was awesome. At the end, there's a segment with Mario and he has the cape and he goes up and he, like, gets like I think like the something on top of the castle. Do you remember this? He has like the
I remember him getting the cape. Yeah, now that you mention it, I do remember him getting the cape and thinking that was cool. But I don't remember what he got. What did he get there?
I don't remember what he got either. I I want to say it was a star or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he definitely like went up with the cape and they made little sound effects from the game. They took sounds from the game and put them into the movie. And I thought that was really cool. Like I could definitely like recognize the sounds and be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I like that was cool." And it was really cool cuz I had just been playing Super Mario World, so it's like perfect timing to see the movie.
Yeah, they did a lot of little musical flourishes in the movie too, where it's like they'll take music from a game, but they'll only play it for like 10 seconds in the movie, and then that's it. But it just gives you a little taste. And there was sometimes where it's like, wait, what game was that from? And then my brain couldn't process it fast enough before like the music was done and they were on to the next scene. The movie was pretty fast paced, so but
It
yeah,
was. Yeah. A lot was happening. I agree with you. Yeah, no, you're right. I remember the music segments. I think they might have remixed some of them too, right? Like a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the original music with a little remix or a little extra, spice to it. Um, but no, I thought it was a fine movie. I think, I won't go too much into the movie, but I think people, um, critiqued it a little too hard. I think it wasn't meant to be taken that seriously. It was kind of like a kids film that, had stuff like nostalgia bits in there for adults. And like I don't know if Mario's story was ever meant to be taken seriously, but I know the movie got a lot of criticism.
Yeah, among my friend group, it's very controversial. One of our friends really does not like the. He didn't even see it, but he just did not want to give it a chance at all. And then I've seen the criticism of like, yeah, there's barely any plot. Like, what is just having game references and music enough for you where you don't care about the plot? And like, yeah, for me it is. Like, I took my daughter to it. She had a great time, and I got to see all the references that I wanted to see. And yeah, it was worth the price of admission for me.
That's exactly it. It was just supposed to be a little. I think it's supposed to be just like you get in there, you get entertained, like a kids film. A good. I wouldn't say Shrek is something like that because Shrek's a little bit older for older kids. But like something like Moana or something where it's just like you go in there and you watch it and you're like that's entertaining, but I'm never gonna be like wow that doesn't make any sense because of this and this and this. It's like I'm watching a kids film that's supposed to just I don't know, just be entertaining. That's all it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like it's an Elder Scrolls movie or something or Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I'd agree. Although Moana's very like I mean, that was like my daughter's favorite movie for a whole year. I've seen that movie probably 100 times. And I don't know if I could put up with the Mario movie 100 times. So Moana's one of our favorites here. It's pretty good.
Moana is pretty good. I think maybe that was a bad example because Moana was a great little film. But maybe Rapunzel might be another
There you
one.
go. There you go. Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of Frozen as an adult. I thought it was kind of boring. But yeah, there's other ones that are just. There's a caveman one that was kind of interesting with what's that guy's name? Nicolas Cage. Do you know what I'm talking about? The Krugs or Krugs?
The Croods, yeah. I never saw it, I don't think, but I know of it.
But yeah, not meant to be taken seriously. It's the same
Yeah.
with these Mario stuff. Like I don't know how people are going into it being like, this is like I don't know, man, how they're just critiquing it like it's supposed to be something else that it's not. But yeah,
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
Not if you guys haven't seen it that's listening to the episode, it's worth it. Maybe not go to the theater if you don't really want to spend the money, but it's worth just, maybe watch it on Netflix or wherever it comes out. I don't, who knows. It's worth the watch.
Yeah,
Um
absolutely. I mean, if they're checking out a podcast about the history of Mario World or people's experience, like you're gonna like the movie. I guarantee it. Just the references alone. So
yeah, yeah, you'll get those nostalgia hits, exactly what you're looking for. So um yeah, so let's talk about so the next game in the series, I know I'm keep on bringing up other Mario games, but I think it's interesting to really see how this game differed from those other games. The next game in the series was Super Mario 64. Well, maybe not the direct next one, but like the next big one was 64. And that game was a 3D game. And it was quite different than Super Mario 64. It was more of a agile based 3D platformer. And I know a lot of people kind of missed this original formula, like where it's like a 2D platform and you kind of get the power ups and you go through the levels. How do you feel? Did you think it was good for them to kind of transfer to 3D, or should they have stuck with 2D? How do you feel about that?
I think the way that the market was going, they didn't have a choice. They had to go to 3D. There was nothing they could do. And I mean, it's hard to say that they made a bad decision when Super Mario 64 is just such a landmark title. I mean, for being as early of a 3D game as it is, they nailed it. And it's so fun to play. I remember I didn't have an N64. I had a PlayStation, but my friend had an N64. And when I went to his house after he got that for Christmas, just running around with Mario in like in front of the castle, that in and of itself was a blast. Not to mention when you're exploring and you're going through all the different levels and you've got all these objectives. It's not just point A to point B, but you're going in the level and you've got a specific goal you've got to do. And then I thought the castle was an excellent hub world. Like Super Mario World, I love that map. And it's same with Super Mario 64. I love the castle, exploring it. It's a great game. Yeah. I love 2D games, but yeah, I mean, that's a great 3D game too.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm not really sure which one I prefer. I think maybe it depends on my mood. Like maybe what I'm kind of feeling up to. But I think the transfer to 3D was, like you said, needed, but also good. Like not just needed. I think it was like a very good transference, and I think a lot of good things came out of it. And I think it also inspired other 3D platformers because it did it so surprisingly, like for being one of the first, it did it really well as far as the controls and how fluid it felt. Like there's a reason people still like to this day are speed running and playing Super Mario 64. Like it's a very popular game still.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's got pretty tight controls and yeah, there's a lot of with speed runs too. I mean, you can go for using glitches and as fast as you can, or you can go for all 120 stars and think there's a lot of different options you've got there. So I can see that being appealing to speedrunners.
Have you ever like speed ran a game?
The closest I ever got to speed running a game was, did you ever play Ico or Eco for the PlayStation 2?
I know what you're. I played Shadow of the Colossus for the podcast, so I know what you're talking about.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so there was a trophy when they re-released it on PlayStation 3, and it was, I believe you had to beat the game in 2 hours. So I mean, I wasn't trying to like speed run it, like compete with people online, but I tried to do that 3-hour mark, and I played it multiple times in a row, and I made it to 3 hours. And then I was like, if I try and do this too much, I'm gonna hate this game. So I stopped, and that's really the closest that I've ever had to speed running a game was that experience.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not much of a speed runner either. I think maybe the closest I ever got was like Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, and it was only because I had beaten the game like multiple times. So at certain points, I'm just challenging myself to do certain things. But yeah, I never try to compete or anything like that. Speedrunning, it's kind of its own beast. You really have to put some hours into a game to be competitive with it. You could always beat your own personal times, and that's cool too. But like if you're going in that competitive space, you got to put hundreds and thousands of hours into these games.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've watched some videos online where these guys get their speed run and they just like break down emotionally, like in tears when they finally succeed because it's just like this huge weight lifted off of them. So yeah, it's an intense community.
Yeah, it is. And it's fun to watch though. It is, and you see the little glitches. I'm like, how did people figure this out? And
Yeah.
it's, I know people do it with Super Mario World too. I know they speed run this game as well. So you could probably do it in like 10? No, probably not 10 minutes. It probably like 30 minutes or something.
I mean,
I
if
don't
you're
know.
using warps and not doing it like for 100%, you can do it really quick. I know that guy in your Discord said that he did it in like 14 and a half minutes. And I
Whoa.
did I did look at the Game Boy Advance version. It times you on how quickly you saved Princess Peach. And I think my time was around like 17 minutes, something like that. So you can do it pretty quickly. I'm sure speedrunners, they've probably got it in like 5 minutes or something ridiculous, but you can do it pretty quick.
That is crazy. I can't imagine the skips and jumps you have to do that. Like I've put like I probably put like 7 hours into it. No, maybe not that. I'm close to 7 hours, and I'm not to the end, but I had to replay a lot of levels because I forgot where the secret entrances were. Like for example, in the woods, like there's a level that you have to find the secret entrance to proceed to the next castle. And I couldn't find it for the longest time. It was just a tunnel that I had to like go into. And for some reason, I just couldn't find that tunnel, so I had to look it up. I was like, "Where am I supposed to go?" But
Yeah,
that was kind of fun.
Forest of Illusion is interesting because up to that point, these levels have secrets, but you don't have to do them. But when you get to Forest of Illusion, there's a couple levels where they make you figure out that secret. Otherwise, you do not proceed through the rest of the levels. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting that they added that.
Yeah, they put you in it puts you in a big circle. Like all the levels just kind of circle and connect to each other, and you're like, wait a minute, I beat every level here. What am I supposed to do? And
Yeah, yeah.
so you can either kind of take another skip, like I guess on the world map, or you can find that secret level in the forest and proceed like to the next spot, to the next castle. So yeah, you're right. It's the first time that the game forces you to like, all right, enough hand holding. Like you got to explore a little bit and try to use your head. Like try to figure out what to do, where to go. And I thought the secret levels were really a good addition to this game. I really do. And they're not incredibly hard to find. For some reason, I don't know why I couldn't find that tunnel one. That one was just like I skipped over it for some reason. But like most of them, well, some of them are a little bit hard, but I would say a lot of them aren't. Like, is there one that just took you? I mean, maybe it brings you too far back, but is there one that took you a long time to kind of figure out? Or
There is, yeah. So I thought about this, like, what was some of the hard secret exits? And I remember as a kid, so this must have been my first playthrough doing it 100%. But there's a level, and I forget what world it's in, but you're running, and there's this yellow platform that's rising from the bottom, and you've got to run really quickly. Otherwise, it's going to rise all the way to the top, and then it's going to smash you against the top of the wall. And your
oh,
instinct is when you get done with that is to just keep running through the level. But if you stop where that yellow part goes up, you can jump onto this little tiny part that extends past the ceiling. And when you jump on that and go back to the left, it then allows you to go back further into a secret area. And then you can access, I think it's a key and a keyhole then at that point.
oh, interesting. I wonder if I ever did that when I was younger. I missed it. I think. Are you talking about like the cavern level with the big yellow like cinder block or like whatever those are?
It's like a big yellow, it's like kinda got like rocky texture to it that it looks like, and it's just from my recollection, it's slowly rising, and you've just gotta kinda navigate and run to the right, otherwise it's gonna, yeah, smash you up against the ceiling. But, yeah, it just involved, like, you've gotta stop, and then you've gotta backtrack a little bit, and then you'll find the secret, but if you just keep whipping through the level, yeah, you'll miss it.
Yeah, yeah, and you'll miss a lot of stuff if you're just whipping through the levels for sure. So this game encourages exploration, and a lot of the secret levels bring you to the Star World. And do you kind of want to tell what the Star World really is?
Yeah, yeah. So Star Road, when you're going through on the world map, I think some of the Star Road areas are viewable on the world map. And that's another interesting thing is the world map, you can see areas that you can't access yet. Like there's one level that you can see like the dot for the longest time, but you can't figure out how you access it. But anyway, the Star Road is where you access these secret levels. And then when you get to the Star Portal, it brings you to the Star World. And then there are 5 additional levels that you can play through. And that's where you get some of the colored Yoshis. And it lets you link and warp to other areas on the map then. So it's kind of like a fast travel system a little bit. Um, that's basically it. Yeah, it's kind of 5 levels, and like one of them is insanely short to where you can literally run to the end of it in like 2 seconds, but you have to, I think, get the blue Yoshi, and then like that's the easiest way to do it, and then fly up to the top, and then there's a key hidden there. Because they all have a secret then. If you just beat the Star Road level, it'll just take you back to where you came from. But if you get the secret exit, then it links you to the next Star Road point. And then if you beat all of those levels, then at the very end, it opens up like this additional 8 levels that are like the hardest levels in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Yoshis were really cool because there was different colors and they all kind of did different stuff. And I thought that was like a really interesting mechanic. My favorite was the blue Yoshi. Obviously because you'd eat a turtle shell and you would get wings and you could just fly around. Do you have a favorite color?
Gotta go with the blue one. Yeah, I mean, the power of flight was pretty great. I mean, the red one's cool, but you get you spit the fireball. It's pretty neat, but it's not that useful compared to the flying. And then the yellow one, you just do that stomp, which was kind of weird. Like it didn't really seem to have all that much functionality. It was kind of neat when you got it, but yeah, the blue one for
Yeah.
me.
The blue one is just I think the blue one's too OP, it's just got too much going for it. So I would always go back to that level, get the blue Yoshi, and just, like, go to the next level I needed to do because it kinda puts
Yes.
the game on, like, an easier mode for you, and if you're trying to get to, like, specific keys and stuff, like, a blue Yoshi was super useful for that.
There's one of the levels, it was a secret level, and it's not hard to find, but it's hard to execute because you've got to go underneath the exit. And when you go underneath the exit, then you can get to a secret exit, and that's the hidden exit for that level. But going underneath and that exit, I'm talking about that like that blue and white striped like tape that's moving up and down, and you get the points when you hit it. To go under that, there's not a lot of space between that and the very bottom of the level where it's going to kill you. So it's pretty challenging if you don't have that blue Yoshi to be able to do that. Otherwise, you've got to fly under it with the cape, and then you've got to like kind of angle yourself back up, which is hard to gain elevation easily with the cape. So blue Yoshi comes in clutch for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like once you are kinda going down with the cape, you're going down, it's hard to really kinda
Yes,
go back
yes.
up, so yeah, no, Blue Yoshi for the win. I don't know if they ever kind of expanded on the Yoshi thing in later games, or they just kinda stuck with the Mario Power thing. I'm not really sure. Is there any other games that utilize Yoshi like Super Mario World, or
I'm trying to think if there was like color variations because in Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2, you play as a bunch of different colored Yoshis, but they're all the same. They don't do anything different functionally. And I want to say that's the case with all the games. Like I'm trying to think in any of the other games. I know Mario Sunshine, you get Yoshi and he's like spitting fruit juice or something strange. But yeah, I don't think the colors do anything else in the other games to give specific abilities like they did in Mario World. I could be wrong, but I don't remember.
yeah, yeah, I think it's kinda novel. I think this is, like, the only game they really do that, and I know that with the Mario games, they don't really like to repeat things, they like to always kind of do something, like, brand new, so I get that, but, yeah, I really like the Yoshi mechanic. I thought it was cool, and it was just interesting having, like, a companion with you that you could kinda ride on and help you out in the levels, and I really liked Yoshi when I was younger. He was, like in Mario Kart, he was my favorite character for a long time. I would say probably as cliche as it is now, probably Mario,
Yeah.
but, yeah, it's like Yoshi's awesome, he was fast too.
Yeah, Yoshi's a great character, and he adds a lot of versatility. You can't fly with him like indefinitely if you've got him, but you can jump off his back in a pinch, or he can eat enemies that normally you couldn't really do anything, like the spiky cactus. He can eat those. If you get hit, you don't lose your power up. If you can get back on him, it's almost like Sonic rings, where you collect the ring and you can live forever. It's like if you can get back on Yoshi, you can live forever. So yeah, it's more than a power up. Yeah, it's like a companion. It's cute. He runs away when you get hit and things. So he's got personality to him. Yeah, it's a great addition to the game.
Um, do you have a favorite, like I know you said some of the later levels are your favorite, do you have a favorite level?
Yeah, I would say one of my favorite levels is in the Chocolate Island area, just because it's so strange. It's this level where when you enter the door at the end of the section, or if you go in the pipe at the end of the section, it will put you into a new section of the level, either dependent on how much time you took to beat that other section or how many coins you collected. So it's very tricky to get the hidden exit in that level because you've got to be like, oh, okay, in the first section, I need to avoid all the coins. And then the second section, I need to beat it really quickly. And it's very interesting. It was a very unique concept. So that's one that stands out to me. Um,
Where was this level again? It was
That was it. It's one of the later levels in the Chocolate Island area. It's where they start having those dinosaurs walking, like the Triceratops walking around. There's like a lot more of those. Um, yeah, I forget exactly
Oh,
because
okay.
some of the levels are just named like Chocolate Island 1, Chocolate Island 2. So I don't remember exactly which one, but yeah, it was in that. It's pretty far into the game. It's like right before you get to the Bowser levels at the end.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I got to I think when I was replaying it, I got to just past Castle 5, and I think there's 8 castles, right?
Um, I think there might be 7 with Bowser. I think Bowser's might be the 7th castle. I don't remember exactly.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember exactly either. And the Bowser fight is pretty simple from what I remember. He's kind of like hovering in a Koopa. What do you call that thing? Like a
That's the Koopa Clown car, which they very wisely did not make that an all K acronym. So yeah, Koopa Clown car. Um
Okay.
Yeah, I love the
Yeah.
design of that thing. Yeah, it's got the big smiley
Yeah.
face and he's flying around, but then after you hit it enough, it starts getting angry at you. And yeah, it's a simple fight, but and then Peach is throwing mushrooms to you during the middle of it, and I think it's a pretty fun fight still.
Yeah, it's fun. And it's like it's a little challenging, but it's really not too hard. Do you feel like how do you feel about the difficulty on this game? Do you feel like it was too easy, too hard? Would you prefer it one way or the other?
One of the thing and this comes up with Mario 3 as well, where I think people's perception is that these are easy games because they've played them so much, but I don't think it's that easy of a game. I think it is easier than Mario 3. I think Mario 3's got several harder levels to it, but I don't think Mario World, especially if you're going for 100%, I don't think it's that easy of a game. I mean, the cape can kind of break stuff, but those last 8 levels, those special levels, they can be pretty challenging. So I think it's a good difficulty. Um, I mean, they could have ramped up the difficulty a bit more, but I think it's pretty good for what they did.
Yeah, I remember the last special levels being really hard when I was a kid. Some people like you said would say this game is super easy. I think Super Mario World is like you said, I think it's for a newcomer, it's not that easy. I mean, it's easier than Donkey Kong Country 2, and it's easier maybe it's on par with like Donkey Kong Country 1. But I think the difficulty is fine. I think it's not too hard, not too easy. It challenges you to, you're gonna have to probably replay some levels if you're not used to it, and but you're also not gonna run through this game and just complete everything 100% of the time.
Yeah, and just
So
finding some of the secrets is, that's a different kind of difficulty. You've got to do like puzzles, but ghost houses, those all usually have some kind of small puzzle to them. They're not like big brain busters, but finding some of the secrets, it is tricky. And it took me a while as a kid to realize that if the map level has a red dot, then that means there's a secret exit. But if it doesn't have the red dot, it means it doesn't. So once you know that, that does make it easier to navigate. Like, okay, I didn't get a secret level here. I know it's got one. I'm going to dig around this level a bit more.
I did not realize that. That is such a like good mechanic. I wish there was something is there something in the game that tells you that? Like, hey, look out for the red levels.
There might be. There are those blocks where they're like, I don't even know what they are. I think it might be supposed to be a speaker. It almost looks like a little pineapple in a blue box or something, but you hit those and it gives you some instructions. But I skip over those so often that I forget what the game tells you and what it doesn't. But there might be one of those that actually does tell you that the red dots on the map are the ones that have the hidden exit, but I can't
Yeah,
remember.
they're like little info boxes, and you hit
Yeah.
them, and it gives you like some dialogue. It tells you like little tips and tricks. And I guess if you're experienced with the game, then you don't really ever need to hit them. So, uh, yeah, I don't know if I ever saw one about red levels. I'm trying. A lot of them I think were pretty generic advice.
Usually, yeah.
What? Yeah, one of them was like maybe about saving the game and like how to save the game or something. And then something else, but yeah. And then What's your favorite power up? Is it the cape or is it something else?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot really to go with. There's if you consider Yoshi a power up, then there's Yoshi, the cape, the fire flower, and that's about it for this game. It does not have as many as Mario 3. Um, so yeah, I mean, I would go with the cape. But if we're
Yeah.
counting Yoshi as a power up, then I'd go with Yoshi because he's got a little more personality than a cape and a feather.
I'm going with Yoshi too if that we're counting that. I mean, like you said, there's really only a couple. It's the flower, the cape, and Yoshi. And Yoshi has a couple of different variations. So like the cape is kind of the easy winner if you're not talking about Yoshi. It's really just allows you to flip over enemies, kill enemies, like fly in the sky, hover. It just does too much. The fire flower is just kind of a remnant from the older games that you get to shoot the enemy and it dies. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, the cape is kind of a clear winner, I think, for most people. Uh, if you could change one thing about this game, like, is there anything that like bothers you? What would you change if there's anything?
Man, it's basically the perfect game for me. I mean, I would love more of it, which I mean, that's one thing we haven't talked. Mario Maker gives you like an endless supply of Super Mario World levels if you want. Now, some of those don't have the highest of quality, but yeah, I mean, I my mind goes to I would just want more of it. But really, I mean, it's a pretty sizable game. Like on a first playthrough, getting all the secrets, it's going to take you a while. So I think that might be a bit unfair to say like, oh, it should have been longer. But I mean, I would have liked it to have been longer. But otherwise, I don't think I'd change much. It's maybe a couple more power ups. I'll go with that. Maybe because like with with Mario 3, like you had the frog suit, the Tanuki suit, the Hammer Brothers suit, where you rarely got those, so it really felt special when you got them. Which I guess the Yoshi power ups are kind of like that. I guess when you get those Yoshi power ups, those are almost like power ups in and of themselves, the different colored Yoshis. So I guess that kind of falls in line. But yeah, I'd say more power ups. That's what I'll go with.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think if I had to change something too, maybe that would be it as well. Just more power ups, like maybe one or two more. I know they don't want to overdo it probably with the power ups, but I know I think it's fun to that's part of the fun with Mario games is really getting new power ups and doing new things with those powers. And so yeah, I think that's a maybe I'm on the page with you. I don't know if I would have anything specific besides that. It would be nice to get maybe I don't know. Really, I don't know. Maybe Yoshi more often or more things that you could do with Yoshi, I guess would be kind of cool. But really not. I think the power up thing is great. Um yeah, so I was going to ask you sorry, I misplaced myself here. I have a whole outline and I do that sometimes. I skip over stuff and then I go
No,
back.
no, you're good.
The Koopa Kids. That's what I was going to ask about. The Koopa Kids. Do you have a favorite Koopa Kid? How do you feel about them? I know they do, and do they ever return? I don't know if they ever actually return in the games.
You mean like in later games?
Yeah.
I know. Well, I think if my memory is right, that they returned for the first time after this. I think it was in Mario and Luigi. Um, was it Superstar Saga, that RPG for the Game Boy Advance, like the first one? I think the Koopa Kids were bosses in that, or maybe it was
Oh, okay.
the second one. They might have been in stuff after that, but my memory was that that was their first like reappearance because I remember being like, "Oh man, the Koopa Kids are back." As far as like a favorite one, um, they're not that exciting in Mario World. I guess now that I just got done saying it's a perfect game, I would say the bosses are okay. They're not really that interesting. The first one's one of the most interesting, actually, which I think that's Iggy, but he's on that moving platform that rotates back and forth, and you got to you can hit him infinite times if you don't knock him into the lava. So I thought that was kind of an interesting boss fight. Um, yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I have a favorite one. The guy that I think the one that looks cool to me is like the Ludwig von Koopa or whatever that guy's name is. Like he has like the spiky gray hair. Um, but as far as like my favorite Koopa Kid, I don't know if I have a favorite one. One of the boss fights that I thought was kind of weird was like one of the extra castles or whatever is like a rhino. Like there's a bunch of rhinos and you have to hit them off platforms. I thought that was like such a weird choice for a boss.
It is a bit, yeah, yeah. Resner is the name that's on its like little nameplate as they spin around, and yeah, it's yeah, a little nerve wracking because if you don't do it quickly, the floor starts to disappear, and then you've got to jump on the platform of one of the ones that you killed, and then wait until it spins around so you can hit the other one from underneath of it. So, yeah, it is an interesting boss fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird. I was like, "What am I fighting?" I thought I was fighting Koopa kids here, and then I got this rhino. I'm like, "What are multiple rhinos?" I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was kind of a weird turn up. Bowser Jr. I don't think does he show up in this? I don't think he does, right?
I know he's in the next game, Yoshi's Island, and that might be his debut where he comes out first, as far as I know. Um, but even then, I don't, there's some, I believe there might be some very specific distinction between Baby Bowser and Bowser Jr. So I actually don't know if Bowser Jr. is technically in Yoshi's Island. That might be Baby Bowser. So I take that back. I
Okay.
don't know what game stars Bowser. That it might be Mario Sunshine was the first one to have Bowser Jr. I'm not sure, but yeah, not in Mario World. I do know that.
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely Mario Sunshine. I wonder if that's his debut. And
It
I
might
feel
be.
like baby Bowser from the sounds of it, sounds like it's just Bowser in baby form or something. Uh,
Yeah,
I don't
Baby
know.
Bowser is. Yeah, I think Baby Bowser is when he gets turned into because like Mario and Luigi are babies in Yoshi's Island, and yeah, I believe that Bowser gets turned into a baby at some point, and then yeah, that's Baby Bowser. So yeah, there is a difference between Baby Bowser and Bowser Jr.
Yeah. And Bowser Jr.'s kind of, that whole I don't know what kind of personality you want to say, high energy, like menacing, like, yeah, like a little evil guy
Yeah,
who's just, he's kind of like his dad, but a lot more childish, So
and he's got his
he's an
trademark like scary teeth bandana as well.
yeah, yeah, like a Ninja Turtle or something or whatever.
Yeah,
Um Yeah, so yeah, different characters, different bosses. The Mario, in Mario they switch up with stuff. They switch up bosses a lot. They switch up well, besides Bowser. I mean, even in Mario RPG, the boss isn't Bowser. It's somebody else. It's more Smithy or whatever. So they did
that's
switch
right.
up a lot of that stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to think of other stuff that we might have missed. The music, maybe we talked a little bit about the music. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I love it. I mean, a lot of the music is just that one theme that they remix for like when you're underwater or when you're like underground or like I forget. They remix it a lot of different ways, but it's a very catchy theme and I think it's very effective. And then like when you get on Yoshi, like it adds that additional drum beat layer to the music and I think it's really well done.
Nice. Yeah, 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 I love the music too. I mean, it's quality. I don't think it's like for me, I don't think it's like one of the best soundtracks of all time, but I think the music fits the game like really well. And I think each level's like just perfect for the theme that they chose for that level. Like it's just the one that I remember the most is like the first level, right? It's like the dun 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 dun, dun, that whole
Yeah,
theme
yeah.
like it's that one sticks in my head for the rest of my life probably. I don't think I'll ever forget that one. So it's very memorable tracks, especially with that, and then the Ghost Mansion track. I remember that one really well too. Um, the Ghost Mansion's kind of spooked me a little bit as a kid because it's like, it's meant to be kind of spooky, and the ghosts are like following you around. And this might be the first game that they introduced the booze, right?
The boos were in Mario 3 as well.
Oh, okay. then not.
But
this
there's a
one,
lot
but
more boos in this. You've got you've got the boos that are I think that they turn to stone and you can use them as blocks, and then they've got the boo rings, and then you've got the big boos, and you fight one of the big boos in one of the levels. So yeah, they definitely added a lot more variety to them.
I think seeing the big boo for the first time kind of creeped me out. I'm like, whoa, like like this thing's gonna, this thing's huge. Like, what am I supposed to do?
And it's
As a
hard to get
kid, but
around too. You got to kind of game it a little bit, where you got to chase him a bit up so he's higher, so then you can sneak underneath of him. Yeah, it's great,
yep.
and it's again one of those sprites that just pops off the screen. It looks great.
Yeah, exactly. And it's each little enemy in this game, I would say is pretty good. They got like the little bloater fish, and they got they got the typical Koopas and the ones that are like flying in the air, and then they got the plants and all this stuff. And they got the hammer guy that rides in the cloud and like throws hammers at you, and does the whole. I think that guy was even in the first game, but he's also in this game, right?
Which at the
Not
Hammer
hammer.
Brother?
Not the Hammer Brother. The guy with the spike. He throws the spike little creatures.
Oh yeah, yeah. Lakitu, is that the guy up in the cloud and throwing the
Yeah.
spinies down? Yeah.
Yep. He's classically in this game, but in this game you can get in this cloud and you can like ride off with it, which is like kind of cool.
Yeah, and then he's also sometimes he's got that one up mushroom on a fishing pole, and then if you take that, then he starts whipping the enemies down faster. That I thought was really cute and funny.
It's so funny because it's ironic because like normally if you see a one up, you'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go get that. But in this case, it's like the one up that you're like try to avoid. You're like, no, I don't
Yes,
want this,
yes.
please, no. Like you're gonna start throwing baddies at me, please. Um, so I thought that was kind of a funny thing that they kind of put in the game. They're like, yeah, sure, take the bait. Like here's the fish hook. Like come on, fishy fishy.
Yeah.
It's cool. And riding the cloud's cool. Being able to like take advantage of that. Like if I can jump on this guy's head, I can ride in his cloud and get a little bit of an easier time going through the level. So that was
Yeah,
neat.
and actually, I think that's the way that is the easiest. That one star road level I was talking about, where it's like super short, is you gotta. I think the ground is all made up of those blocks you can pick up, and you want to pick one up to throw it at him so you can get in his cloud, and then you can fly up and get to the secret level. So yeah, it is. It's fun to do, and it's also pretty useful in some of those levels too.
Yeah. Yeah. So like yeah, the enemies were good in this game. The bullet bills were cool. There's like the big one, like you said, like on one of the first levels that you're in, it's like that big giant bullet bill that like goes across the screen. You're like, whoa, this thing's massive.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, I listened to your Sonic Adventure episode, and you guys were talking about the whale in the beginning of the first level of Sonic Adventure, and you're like, oh man, the whale looks so cool. It's like this signature moment. I don't know if I'd give the huge bullet bill that much emphasis, but it does look very cool. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, whoa, that's the power of the Super Nintendo is right there.
Yeah. They did a really good a job of like introducing you like to the game with a big oomph. It's like here it is that you're playing Super Mario World. You're no longer playing Mario 3. You're no longer on the Nintendo. You're on the Super Nintendo, and here's this big enemy that you have to face. Even though it's
Yeah.
not that hard, it's like here he is. So
Yeah.
and yeah, the whale thing was a good reference. That whale was awesome. I mean, that whale sold the Dreamcast. So
It's an iconic moment. Yeah.
but yeah, so
I
I
did
kind of
wanna
like to go. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick for one enemy, I did want to mention the Goombas, though, are kind of weird in Super Mario World. They don't look like the standard Goomba. I think they went back to more standard Goomba look in later games, but they have like this round look to it. And when you step on them, you don't kill them. You just kind of flip them over and then you can pick them up. And they look a little weird to me. What did you think about the Goombas in this game?
They look like apples to me.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it's so weird. I just thought they were apple. I didn't realize those were Goombas until you just said that.
I believe they're supposed to be Goombas. Yeah, I forgot. I know when you beat the game, they do that like cast of characters. I believe they're just referred to as Goombas, but yeah, they look different.
Yeah, they probably are Goombas. They just look like apples. Like I just thought they were apples. I'm like, All right, we got some walking apples. That's cool. I suppose, like jump on them, flip them over. But yeah, they don't die like they would in a normal Mario game. You have
Yeah.
to like grab them and then like throw them or something. And then they
And
got
then
the
I got to call
bombs.
out. I do love Rip Van Fish, the fish that's sleeping, and then when you get close, he wakes up and chases you. I thought the name was so funny, Rip Van Fish. It always gets a chuckle out of me whenever I beat the game and see that name.
Those guys kind of scared me too as a kid. Like they more like stressful. Like they stress me out. Like
Yeah,
waking them up, I'm like, please don't wake up, just stay asleep. And then they have the big open eyes and they're like, blah, 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 they're coming at they
yeah,
just come
yeah.
at you. So you're like, please no. And you can't swim faster than them. They like swim faster than you. So you have to either like jump over them or like, I don't know, like figure something out. The stressful enemy, but like those little guys. Yeah, no, they got a bunch of cool little enemies. I like to go over kind of the, at the good, the bad, and the in between for these games when I'm replaying them. Because a lot of these games we have a lot of nostalgia packed into them. So, um, maybe if a new person came to the game, they might see some flaws that we don't really see because we always have those rose-colored glasses on. So I kind of go over the good, the bad, and the in between. The good, I mean, the game controls really well. That's one of my good points. Like the game controls super, super well. Some might say it controls the best out of any 2D platformer in the world. I might be impartial to Donkey Kong Country a little bit more just because I've played them. I don't know. I just something about Donkey Kong Country's controls I really like. And I also like Mega Man's controls a lot, like Mega Man X and stuff. But I think this is up there, as far as controls. He is a little bit more slidey than I would like, but I think overall the controls are really good. And how do you feel about the controls? You kind of mentioned them earlier in the episode. You said they were pretty good.
I mean, they're top of the line for me. I mean, I do like Donkey Kong Country a lot, but some of the controls for me are a bit. I think it's just the style of the game where some of like, and maybe this isn't directly with the controls, but like some of the collision detection is a bit where it's like, oh, am I going to run off this ledge when I jump? Am I not going to? And I know like at least
Yeah.
with like in this with Diddy, I know you can maybe with Donkey Kong too. You probably know better than me, but you can like roll off the edge
Yeah.
of a ledge a little bit and then jump kind of
Yeah.
midair. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's nuance there too. But yeah, Mario World, I think just with the style and the look, it's a bit more precise to where I know exactly what I'm able to do at any time. At least that's how I feel. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
top of the line for me.
Yeah, it is very predictable once you know it. I mean, you could even see that in the expert like Mario Maker levels that people do. Like the controls are so I would say on point for people that you can do these very complex levels because they're very predictable as far as controls. He does slide a little bit, which kind of bothers me, but I don't think it's that bad. Like Donkey Kong, they slide a little bit too. Like most platformers, people slide a little bit. It's kind of part of the platforming genre, So I feel that. So yeah, that was one of my good points. I think the controls are great. I think they hold up. I think they're very very good. Um, Another one of my good points would be the art. I love the Super Mario World art. I think it's probably one of the best 2D looking Mario, like not just Mario games, but like 2D looking platformer games that there are with the colors and the sprites and stuff. I think graphically it holds up better than Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, considering it was a launch title for the system, I mean, it looks great. And yes, the colors pop, and a lot of the enemies look excellent. And yeah, I think with Donkey Kong, it was very. I mean, when I was a kid, I was like, we were all blown away by it. It was very impressive at the time. But yeah, kind of those games that were right at the end of the system's library trying to push to the next level, and then that N64 PlayStation 1 era, a lot of those games I have a hard time going back to, where Super Mario World, it's timeless. Those sprite-based graphics, it looks great.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people try to replicate those too. I'd say like some of the best looking sprites are in this game, along with like again Mega Man X. I think some of the best looking sprites are in that game as well. I love the 16-bit style, and I think I like it better than the 8-bit style. The 8-bit's cool, but 16-bit is just so good. And Super Mario World just really hit that nail on the head with those sprites. Like everything looks great.
Yeah, yeah, I agree
Um,
with all that.
one of my bad points, I guess I would say, which there really isn't much. I just tried to find something for the podcast, but I guess the boss fights, even though they're okay, I don't find them wildly interesting. Some of them more than others. But they're maybe I like the Bowser fight a lot. But I think most of them are kind of generic. In a way. They're fine. They're I don't think they do a disservice to the game. But if I have to choose something bad out of the game, I think the boss fights are one of its weaker points. But how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, the Koopa Kids, most of them are you're hitting them on the head 3 times. Some of them, there's a little bit going on to where, like, they're popping out of pipes and maybe shooting stuff at you, or the walls are kinda closing in and they're going on the ceiling to stomp down, but, yeah, they're all pretty simple. Um, I guess if I was gonna pick another fault, I know maybe it's kinda cliché to be like, "This is the fire world, this is the ice world," but with Mario 3, like, those levels were all very distinct, like, when you're in the sand or the desert world, like, it really felt like this cohesive place where Mario World does have some of that, like, when you're in the Vanilla Dome, like, all those levels kind of have a familiar feeling, but none of the levels, the environments really differ or feel that much different from one to the next, at least in my opinion. So that's again where, like, the comparison between Mario 3 and Mario World, I think, is a little bit tighter than I had given it credit for when, before I started really thinking about this over the last few days. So I'll go with that as a small con.
Sure. Yeah, and I think I'm on board with you. It even though the levels are, I would say, memorable, they just don't have that same level of memorability as Mario 3. And we kind of mentioned that earlier. It's just like the Mario 3 made those levels and those worlds iconic, where it's like you're in the desert dome, like you are dealing with the desert. You're in the giant world, you're dealing with the giant stuff. You're in the I think there's a water world right in there.
Yeah.
You're dealing
Yeah.
with like water stuff. You're on the eighth world or whatever, and it's like dark and scary. It's like it's bad. And it's all cohesive. Um, and this one, you could go be in the same dome or a biome or whatever, and the next level could kind of feel, um, the same as a previous biome. You're like, this doesn't,
Yes.
maybe
Yes.
maybe it's more woody. Like in this one, a little bit more woody. Like it's like, but it doesn't really feel that different. So that I guess that would be a weaker point compared to its predecessor. So yeah. But honest, the levels are fun. Every level is pretty much fun. It's just you don't have that same memorable like environments that you would from the previous one.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and then yeah, good point. Another good point would just be the soundtrack. I think it was good. Not best of all time for me, but still very good. Very interesting. You can catch myself humming the little Yoshi tune or whatever that is. And yeah, it's good. And from the sounds of it, you kind of agree there with the music.
I do. Yeah. I mean, I love the soundtrack, but yeah, I don't know if I'd put it at the top. I love Super Mario 64. That opening level, that da 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 da.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
love,
yeah.
I love that one. So that might be top for me out of all of them. But I mean, Super Mario World's got a great soundtrack still too.
Yeah, and I think this is actually one of the points that I think Donkey Kong Country really does outshine Mario. Super Mario World is that the guy, it might have been the same guy who composed both games. Honestly, it was Koji Kondo for I think Super Mario World, and then who did the Donkey Kong? David Wise, was that
That's
it?
right. Yeah. Yeah.
He just man that he killed it with Donkey Kong
He really
Country.
did.
Like
Yes.
he went so hard with that soundtrack. I don't know what that guy thought he was making, but he was like, I'm gonna make the masterpiece of a lifetime, and those are hard to beat. and maybe it's unfair to compare them, but they came out in similar eras, so I kind of do. Um, and yeah, so yeah, the music's good though. Like it's on my good point. It's just not like that legendary status. Like even and a couple of my guests argued this with me that Mega Man X isn't a legendary status. I think that music is also legendary. I don't know how they didn't see that, but
You
that's
know,
also the same era.
I'd have to replay it. I've always been a bigger fan of the original Mega Man games. And funny enough, I just literally over the past couple days played through there's the Wily Wars on Sega Genesis, and they've got it on Nintendo Switch Online, where it's the first three Mega Man games that were from NES, but they put them on Genesis. So it's almost like a Super Mario All-Star scenario. And
Okay.
I was playing through those three games, and I love the music from the first three Mega Man games. So I'll have to replay Mega Man X to see if I like that music as much. I have admittedly played the older Mega Man games way more than the X series.
Okay. Yeah, replay the first one and let me know. Like, it's maybe shoot me a message in the Discord and be like, either like, man, I'm not feeling this soundtrack like you said, or send it to me and be like, yeah, this is a banger. Like, this is some of the top music because that first introduction level is just insane with the music. Just so it goes so hard. Like, and I know with a lot of the fan base, they feel the same way.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll give it a playthrough. I'll let you know.
yeah, let me know. As far as the difficulty, I think that was also a good point. I think it's perfectly balanced. I think it shouldn't be any harder or any easier than it is. I think it's hard to balance a platformer this well. I think it did a really good job.
I'd agree. Yeah, I'd agree with all that. And yeah, if you want harder, you can go to Mario Maker and you can find a whole lot of hard content there, and some of it is ridiculously challenging. But yeah, have you dabbled with Mario Maker at all before?
I know of it and I've watched people do YouTube levels, but I've never played it.
It's great. I mean, even if you're not going to build any of this stuff, I mean, it's just this huge repository of endless content, and you can go online and you can find people like on Reddit that have posted some of their levels, so you can kind of curate it a bit more so you're not just playing random stuff. And I mean, I've played people make their own worlds because they added a mode where you can like link like 30 levels together to make kind of a complete game. And I mean, there's some good stuff out there, so I'd highly recommend it.
Okay, yeah, I think so. Where should I play it? Is it just Nintendo Online or something or?
Yeah, it's on the Switch. Yeah, Super Mario Maker 2 is on the Switch. Super Mario Maker 1 was on the Wii U. But Mario Maker 2 is on the Switch. And they added mouse controls to the Switch 2, which a lot of people think would come to Mario Maker eventually because it would lend itself for the building of levels so well to use the mouse controls. But yeah, it's on the original Switch. That's the place to play it.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll check that out then. Yeah, I feel like if you're building levels, like using the computer is always going to be easier. You can be more precise and it's a lot faster. So yeah, that's cool though. I think I want to try it out. It sounds if you like Super Mario World, it sounds like you're gonna like Mario Maker.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Um,
there's just endless amounts of content. Yeah.
that's cool. So it's like you kind of got that extension of the game that you really love. Even if
Yeah.
if it's fan made. Yeah. So I know a lot of people kind of don't like rating these games, but I'm assuming I kind of know what your rating might be. My first question is if you had to rate it one out of let's say I don't know how many levels are actually in the game, but we'll just say 1 out of 10. What would you rate it? And then the second question is should people reload the game? Should they go back and play it? Whether they're a newcomer or a veteran.
It's going to be a 10 out of 10 for me. And I don't want to make it sound like I would throw a 10 out of 10 out to just any game like Super Mario World, like I mentioned at the top, like top two games for me. So yeah, it's a perfect 10 for me. And I'm not the type of person either who I know sometimes people have the mentality of, well, if there's any faults at all that you can find with it, then it shouldn't be a 10. I don't go that hard. So I'd give it a 10 out of 10. And man, if it's a game you should replay, if you have not played it, then I envy you that you can go into this with a fresh slate and find all these secrets and spend all this time in a brand new Mario game of this caliber. And if you haven't played it in a while, then I mean, I'd say revisit it. It holds up today.
That yeah. Yeah. You know, that is honestly a common sentiment. I was asking people on Reddit, is Super Mario World the best 3D platform, or not 3D, best platformer of all time? And the majority of people, or at least half of them, said yes. And if they said it wasn't the best one, they said it was like top 10. Like it was a game that people should replay, and that should be basically respected. And most people said yes. I didn't really find too many people say no. Most people, like, if they said no, it was more along the lines of like, yeah, it's okay, but Mario 3 is better. Like that's the other sentiment I heard.
Yeah.
But as far as like people just hating the game, there really wasn't a lot. It was maybe there was like one person who just wanted to kind of be the contrarian, I suppose. This is one of those rare games that there's not really many haters because of how well it was made. It did what it's meant to do and set out to do really, really, really well. And it was one of those entry titles to the Super Nintendo. I don't know if it was a release title or not, but if it wasn't, it was like close to the release of the Super Nintendo, and it just did so well for being a Super Nintendo early title. Just a great game. And if I had to rate it at 1 out of 10, um, I'm gonna give it like a 9.5 maybe. And I guess the only thing I would say is like maybe the boss fights and it would have been nice to know about the red circle thing that you were kind of talking about. Maybe in the game
Yeah.
it does tell you, and that's my fault for missing it. But honestly, there's not much wrong with it. I prefer Donkey Kong Country 1's controls a little bit more, but that's a preference. That's not the fault. Like the game's not bad controls. It's just a preference thing. And so yeah, this game is almost. I mean, I don't even know. I think about it sometimes. I'm like, do I have a 10 out of 10 game? And I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I haven't ran to it in the podcast. I'll tell you this. But this might be the highest rated game that I have had on the podcast. And that's hard for me to find any flaws with it. I'm not much of a platformer guy, like in general, but this game I can enjoy. I can really enjoy being a platformer, and I think it's good. Like even somebody who, like, when I was a child I played it and I didn't think it was too hard or too easy back then, and nowadays I'm playing it, it's not too hard or too easy now. Like how can there be a game that's really like that? Because most games it's like either too hard as a child or too easy. It's like one of those things, and then you get older and it's like the vice versa. This game just like keeps on just being consistent. It's like so consistent with its replayability, and that's just amazing to me. I don't know how they did it. Just an incredible game. So yeah, like probably like a 9.5. Minus that tiny little bit of flaws that it has. So good. Maybe another little flaw would be like, I wish I could save after every. Can you save after every level, or is it only like certain points?
I believe in the original game you can only save after certain. I know you can't save whenever you want. It's like after a castle, or maybe after a secret level, or after a ghost house. It gives it fairly often, but it's not after every single level.
Yeah. And maybe that I would just change that. It's like, okay, just give me it after anytime. Like I want to press pause and just save, like let
Yeah.
me just save anytime. But yeah, no, honestly, and obviously the answer to the second question, should you reload the game? No, don't do it. No, just kidding. Obviously do it. Like obviously reload Super Mario World. It's a classic. It's a timeless classic. It's always going to be a timeless classic as long as people, keep on bringing it back to life, as far as like, reintroducing it to the new generations. Yeah, so good. I'm really glad I got you on here for it, Brian, because you have a passion for the game, and I can tell that you were a big fan. And yeah. So real quick, we'll do the next week's game riddle, and I'll let you guess what it is. It's kind of an obscure game. I never heard about it until somebody submitted it on the retro roster. And I don't think I've done this riddle yet. I'm hoping I didn't. If I have, audience, sorry. You'll hear the riddle again. If not, whatever. But the riddle is: I show you fear through moving scenes, a nightmare stitched with real life beans. No sprites or pixels lead your way, but choices shape what comes to stay. A haunted tale you live, not guide. What game lets terror be your guide? Well, I'm glad that there's two guides there. That's not a great rhyme. Not a great rhyme, but do you have any ideas what it might be, Brian?
Gosh, let's see. You said no pixels or
Yeah,
sprites, so I'm thinking it's
no
a 3D
sprites or
game.
okay.
And then it can't be that new because this is Retro Reloaded.
Right.
So, and it sounded like it was a scary game. So, gosh, it's something with seeds. So, I mean, you use herbs in Resident Evil. I'm gonna go with Resident Evil.
That's a good guess, honestly. It's not Resident Evil, but that is a good guess. This is a very obscure title, and it was for the Windows and the Mac. I think it was like Windows
Ah,
95 or something. Um, so it's kind of like, yeah, it's pretty obscure. So I don't know if you'll know it or not, but yeah, it's Phantasmagoria. You ever heard of it?
I have heard of it, but I am not much of a PC gamer, so I've never played it myself.
Yeah, this was like an old game back in the mid 90s, early 90s or something like that. And maybe it was late 90s, but basically it was like a game where they had movie scenes inside the game. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like those
Yeah,
old
yeah.
PC games kind of did, where it's like, and I think you kind of like I'm not even sure you do, but I heard it's kind of super campy and like just kind of goofy, and so I'm interested in trying it. This was submitted by Tetra Folly on the retro roster. Tetra last game that they submitted was actually Abe's Odyssey. They tortured me with that game. That game was really rough. I don't know if you've played that game lately, but that game is
I
hard.
have played that game. I have not played it lately. I played it back when it came out, and I remember playing it that I feel like I got hard locked at the end of the game where I saved it somehow to where like I couldn't proceed off of my save file. I don't know if maybe I was just missing something, but I was like right at the end of the game and never finished it as a result. So I remember liking it up to that point, but that was, gosh, 25 years ago, maybe at this point.
Yeah, it's rough. I tried playing it when I was a kid, and couldn't do it. I died. It was too hard for me as a kid. And then I came back to it and I played it recently, and it was still too hard for me. But luckily, I had things like save states. I don't really, some people say like save scumming is messed up and you shouldn't do it. Honestly, for this game, save scum the entire thing, man, because you're gonna
Yeah.
probably want it. Like it's rough. But yeah, no, it was kind of a funny experience. But this one, they were saying is this Phantasmagoria is a lot more just kind of like a chill, goofy game. So I'm interested in trying it. So yeah,
Yeah.
Brian, I just want to thank you again for coming on. And do you real quick want to tell people where to find your gaming podcast?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. No, this was a lot of fun. One last real quick thing. If you're going to retro reload this game, the Game Boy Advance version is kind of interesting, and that lets you save anywhere. So you've got that plus. And then it tracks, there's like these dragon coins or Yoshi coins throughout the level that in the main game, there's not. I mean, they give you a one up if you get them all, but there's not that much of a purpose. But in the Game Boy Advance game, they track it all for you. And then there's a couple extra things. There's not that many, but like there's mini games where you get into a level and then it'll have you like collect 500 coins before the time runs out and things like that. So just
Oh,
one
nice.
last quick plug with if you're going to retro reload it, Game Boy Advance version, it's on Nintendo Switch Online. It's got a lot of sound effects that I know people don't like, where like when Mario gets a mushroom, he'll say, "Oh, just what I needed," and things like that. So they added a lot of that, and it does. The colors don't pop quite as much. It looks a bit washed out, and there's probably stuff with like aspect ratio that people don't like. But if you haven't played it in a while and you want to come back to it, but have it like a little fresher experience, it's an interesting play. I played that last night. I didn't play all the way through, but I played it and I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty interesting version of the game to play.
I never did the advanced version. Now I kind of want to try it. I think I kind of like those little Game Boy Advance remakes because they pretty much are the same game. They just add extra content. And I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool that Nintendo did that for like Link to the Past and this one and like a Chrono Trigger and stuff. I thought that was just such a great thing to do.
Yeah, it's cool when they re-release that stuff and they give you a little extra. So it's like, oh, not only do I get to replay a game that I really liked, but now there's a bit more incentive to do so. Yeah, it's neat when they do that.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and then where can people find you again? And your gaming podcast.
Yeah. So beatofthemonth.com. Me and my friends, we just talk about different games we play. Either it's on a theme like robot games or dinosaur games or what have you. And sometimes we pick specific games to play, like we did Astrobot for one, or we did God of War Ragnarok a while ago. Yeah, we're always picking new games. I will say we are not family friendly at all. So yeah, if you don't want swear, and I edit things out that go beyond what I'm comfortable with, and even then I let quite a bit fly through. So yeah, if
Yeah. Yeah.
if you are older, don't let your kids listen to it. If you are younger, don't let your parents have you listen to it. And yeah, if you don't want crass content, I would, as much as I want to get our listener volume up, I would say maybe give us a pass because it's yeah. Your at least the Sonic Adventure episode seemed like it went pretty clean, so I made sure to keep my language in check for this one. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, beatofthemonth.com. Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing it, so come check us out if you're interested in another gaming podcast.
Heck yeah, yeah. I'm definitely going to be checking it out after this. I'm excited to get your guys' content. You said you did Dinosaur already. Did you already do Dinosaur?
We did a dinosaur games episode. I forget what I played. I don't know if I played Dino Crisis on that one or exactly what game I played for that theme. That was an older one. Another thing too, for the first like 50 episodes, there's like an embarrassingly long time, our audio quality was just awful. So I wouldn't really recommend starting at the beginning because it took us quite a while to get the audio to a passable level. So there's a
I go ahead.
I was just going to say, I did this is not like our typical episode, but I did a deep dive in the Dreamcast where I talked a bit about Sonic Adventure, but I had some interviews in there. Yeah, that was an episode that I was pretty proud of. That's kind of a one-off, more polished episode that I do not have the time to do something like that all the time. But yeah, that was, I forget what number that was, but it's our Dreamcast interview special episode or something titled like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely go check it out. The reason I asked you about the dinosaur one was because I was like, did you guys already do Dino Crisis? Because I need to revisit that game. Because I love Resident Evil, and I know that Dino Crisis is kind of like akin to that. You know?
Yeah, if you love Resident Evil, I did just play through Resident Evil 8 because we had a Resident Evil themed episode. And I played Resident Evil 8 in VR, and that was quite a terrifying experience. But
Was it with Dog Watch's mod?
No, it was on PlayStation VR 2. So it was on the
Oh,
PS5
okay.
with the PSVR 2. So no, it was legit. Yeah, not a mod. I mean, the mod might be just as good. I have no idea, but yeah, it was on just straight up unmodded hardware and software, and yeah, it was